What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Kuhnhenn Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Warren, Michigan, and this is their DRIPA. So this is a double Rice IPA that comes in at 9.5% alcohol by volume, 70 IBUs at the time of review, and this can is just under 2 months old. And I picked this one up at Halftime Beverage via halftimebeverage.com. So in the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that I grabbed. And I grabbed 31 beers in total, 7 of which are from Kuhnhenn. And I am super excited. Why? Because I love the Kuhnhenn Brewing Company. I've been to the brewery multiple times. The last time, I think it was in 2015, I went to their winter solstice release where they release a bunch of different like barrel-aged beers and huge beers and whatnot. And I love the brewery, and full disclosure, I've had this beer a couple times before at the brewery. I also had it back in 2017. It showed up here on tap at a local craft beer bar, and I thought we would start seeing distro, and we didn't. So I haven't had a beer from Kuhnhenn, and I want to say it's been over 5 years. And the last time I had this one, it's been almost 8 years. And when I saw that they were available on Halftime Beverage, I was like, all right, we're getting this, this, and this. And I ended up with 7 beers. I think 3 of them are like barrel-aged. One's a big blended beer. We have this. We have their Imperial Creme Brulee Java Stout, which I've had before, and their Lucky Charms, which is basically a Lucky Charms lager. And yeah, I'm starting with this one because it's the only hop-forward beer. I've had it before, and you know, it's a little bit older. I've always had it pretty fresh, so I'm really looking forward to it. They have a spiel on the back that says, made with American long grain rice and Pilsner malt. This ale is golden color and has an assertive dry hop aroma with lots of hops in the finish. Serve at 38 to 42 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a little bit warmer than that, but yeah, anyway. The one thing I remember about this one is it was so crisp, clean, and it just had a huge dryness. Almost reminded me of like a West Coast IPA if it was like a cold IPA. Or I guess that's what kind of cold IPA is, or like a IPL. That's how awesome it is. And for the first time on the channel, I get to use the hashtag proper glassware. This is the Kuhnhenn glass. I've used it before for other Michigan beers, but finally pouring an actual Kuhnhenn beer into the Kuhnhenn glass is pretty fantastic. So pour the entire thing in. As you can see, it's crystal clear, which is awesome. Oh, that's delicious. Wow, I can't believe off of that just little cheat that I did, this tastes great. So anyway, let's get a beautiful look at this one. So as you can see, you can probably see my hand through it, like maybe not though. We'll see if I turn it sideways. Is that a little bit better? Huh, I don't feel like you, yeah, you can see it. You can see my face and stuff. So I guess you just see, I guess it's a little bit larger, but yeah. So that has a beautiful like golden orange color. A finger of a beautiful, creamy, somewhat soap sudsy looking head. The clarity's through the roof. Let's get out the, is there any contraband in there? What's going on? No, there's you don't see much carbonation. There's only a couple carbonation bubbles for the most part, but man, it looks beautiful. That looks like a West Coast IPA. I mean, that's what it kind of looks like, our West Coast Double IPA. Anyway, let's get a nose. Oh, dude, it smells so good. I was worried because, almost 2 months old, and I'm like, some of these older, recipe beers, although I'm sure they've updated. It also says on the side here, World Cup 2012, I believe. But yeah, anyway, I've had it before, so I kind of know it's a great beer. And the nose would indicate that it has a nice melange of like different citrus fruits, so like sweet orange or tangelo. There's even a little bit like a lemon lime going on. Maybe a touch of a pineapple, or I'd say more maybe like a honeydew melon. But then it has a nice piney kind of floral essence to it. There's a little bit of like white bread from the malt character. Very impactful. Like the nose does not say or scream that it's 2 months old. It screams like it's honestly like less than a month old. Like there is still a huge aroma in here. Dude, it smells awesome. Like, it's not overly complex, and this beer never was really complex, and a lot of old school West Coast IPAs and double IPAs aren't all that complex, but they hit you with dryness, bitterness, the hop character will give you that citrus, the pine, maybe a little bit of like stone and tropical fruits, but this is making my mouth water. Like, I want to take a sip of it, so we're going to. Cheers, everyone. I didn't even mention this is 9.5% when I was smelling it, like I smell the booze, because you can't taste it. You can't smell it, you can't. I am so fucking happy that this beer is just as good as I remember it. And I've heard some things. I'm just going to say this. I've heard some things about Kuhnhenn over the past 3, 4, 5 years that they're not the same as they once were. And maybe that's the case. This is my first beer in over 5 years from them. So I can't really speak to that. I can only speak to this beer, and this beer is still fucking divine. Does it hit my palate maybe as well as it did when I first had it back in the mid-2010s? Close. It's very close. Buying this one's like lower side of full, maybe even medium full. So there is a heft here. Usually with a 9.5%, they call it a double rice IPA. This is approaching triple IPA realm, or we're just saying imperial IPA. I do like a body be a bit thinner, but this isn't too thick. So this kind of satiates what I'm looking for in terms of a body around this ABV that's hop forward. So a low to medium full body is perfect. The mouthfeel, like I said, super crisp, very clean. I'm not going to call this one refreshing because it's almost 10%, but it's very crisp and clean, and it has a beautiful lingering dryness. And yeah, the body and mouthfeel are absolutely fantastic. The taste is a little less impactful than I remember it being, but also I've never had it in almost 2 months old. So everything I got in the nose carries over. There's a lot of citrus. There's zesty citrus. There's a little bit of like a pithy citrus. There's sweet citrus as well. So it has like, it encompasses the whole fruit. And I'd say, you could say orange, tangelo, something like that. Definitely a juicier kind of vibe from those fruits, but also, again, zesty, rindy, pithy. There's a little bit of lemon lime, a touch of a grapefruit. Midway through the palate, I get more peach than pineapple or like honeydew melon. I was saying in the nose, it's definitely more of like a peach or an apricot, some kind of stone fruit. And then on the finish, it has a nice floral pine sensation. It's not over the top. It's there. It's noticeable, but it's more floral than piney, I would say. Slightly resinous. Finishes, again, bone dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. The two knocks I'd have against this beer in comparison to what I remember this beer being, number one, I do think that it was a little bit more impactful as a whole flavor-wise, a touch more complexity, a touch more oomph to the flavor. And I remember this one being quite bitter. This one, more in the moderate bitterness, and I think it was a little bit more bitter in the past. However, keep in mind, 2 months old. The ones I had before were, both of them I think were like, they were on draft, so they were definitely fresher right from the source, and the one I got here had just showed up, so I'd imagine that was quite fresh as well. It does have a nice bready, front to back, omnipresent sweetness like a white bread. Underlying never steps in the way, but it's always present. There's also a little bit of like a, I'm not going to say I can taste the rice in here, but it has a slightly different grain quality than just straight white bread for me. There's something like a nuanced kind of flavor that I would attribute to the rice. The rice is obviously making this one very crisp, or very clean, very crispy, very dry. It has a nice drying sensation to it, but also the crisp, the cleanness as a whole. But it does have a little bit of a flavor profile that's kind of different. 9.5%, there's a nice warm in my chest, but you cannot tell on the palate that this is almost 10%. I couldn't smell it. Hides it extremely well. I typically give this beer like around a 4.5. I can't go that high. I'm between two different scores. You know what? Fuck it. I think I'm going to give this a little bit lower than I originally would give this beer, drinking it fresh, back 10 years ago, even 8 years ago. But for an almost 2-month-old, old school, West Coast-style double IPA with rice, this is still really fucking delicious. And I am so happy. I don't know if the rest of the beers are going to be just as good as I remember, because I've had, most of the beers I picked up, I've had like at least 3 of them off the top of my dome piece that I can remember, and they were all delicious back in the day. I'm curious to see if they will hold up like this one did. I'm so happy this one held up though. Like, I'm so fucking stoked that this, I'm so happy. Anyway, DRIPA from Kuhnhenn. I am going to give this low 4.5. I'll go 4.4. I was between a high 4.25 or a low 4.5. I'm going with the low 4.5 because of the age of this one, and it's still as delicious as it is. I think I have to. So 4.4 out of 5. This is fucking great. And if you're in Michigan and you can readily get your hands on this one, or maybe you used to drink Kuhnhenn and you still do, have they changed for better or for worse? Like, again, I've heard some rumblings that they're not as good as they once used to be, and I can't speak to that since I haven't had any of their beers in over 5 years. So that's why I picked them up. I want to see how they are, but I also want to review some Kuhnhenn. I've been wanting to review them for a long time. I do have some beers in my cellar from them from the original Winter Solstice release that maybe I'll review at some point later this year, but I wanted to drink some of the fresh ones because I drank a lot of them fresh and I want to know how they are. So anyway, price point. On the Halftime Beverage website, $3.99 a can. I don't know what 4 packs of this would be, but probably like 13, 14 bucks on there. At the brewery, it's $11.99, or was it? It's either $10.99 or $11.99 a 4-pack. It's either 11 or 12 bucks a 4-pack. So under $3 or $3 or less dollars for a can of this, 9.5%. It's weird that it's 4 packs of 12 fluid ounce cans, but it is what it is. Yeah, I pay that every day. I just gave this a 4.4. I remember it being delicious, and it's fucking delicious. And availability, it's Kuhnhenn. I have no idea. I just thought they were in Michigan for the most part because I've never really seen them out of the area, but apparently they showed up on Tavour, and now they've showed up on Halftime Beverage, so maybe they're starting to get some distro outside of the area, which is awesome, meaning I don't have to go to the brewery, which, if I drive through Canada, it's like a 4.5 hour drive. If you go through the US, it's like about 6 hour drive. And round trip, 9 or 12 hours. That's a lot. But, at the end of the day, I'm glad I picked these up. I'm so happy this one held up. Very good beer. Again, a little bit more bitterness and I think a little bit more complexity and oomph to the flavor. This is a 4.5, maybe 4.6, but as is the 4.4. And if you're in Detroit or Michigan as a whole and you can get your hands on this beer and you've never had it before, check it out. It's a fun little unique double IPA that I think is almost as delicious as I remember it, and it's almost 2 months old. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Be on the lookout for more reviews from the Kuhnhenn Brewing Company. I'm going to shut this one down to the next one. Cheers.